in once again extending a very warm welcome to all of you in Goa for the 8th BRICS Summit. I am honored to chair the BRICS leaders plenary meeting. Our exchanges earlier during the day were productive. This session should build on them and deliberate on the proactive agenda of action for BRICS. The footprint of intra-BRICS engagement has expanded over time to include large areas of economic activity. The scope of our partnership today stretches from agriculture to industry and innovation, trade to tourism, environment to energy, films to football, skill development to smart cities, and from fighting corruption and money laundering to securing our societies. This year, we have taken BRICS to our cities and provinces and linked it directly to our people from different walks of life. Excellencies, we are celebrating 10 years of our partnership under BRICS. A decade of collaboration has produced strong benefits of cooperation. We are entitled to take pride in our initiatives and achievements. The establishment of new development bank and the contingency reserve arrangement are indeed signature achievements. In a world of new security challenges and continuing economic uncertainties, BRICS stands as a beacon of peace, potential, and promise. Our work holds much meaning for the developing world. In the past year, BRICS has played an active role in shaping the global agenda for change and development. Our association with Agenda 2030, the Paris Climate Agreement, and the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development has been purposefully and productive. And we remain at the forefront of pushing change in the global governance architecture. Excellencies, while our achievements have been substantial, we need to sustain the positive direction and strong momentum of intra-BRICS engagement. We also need to add more content to it. Let me offer some thoughts for your considerations. First, the process of institution building in BRICS must continue to remain a focus area. The institutions that we build must support the development of our countries and regions. They should enable greater flexibility and freedom and offer wider choices in responding to our developmental priorities. We look forward to translating into reality the idea of a BRICS credit rating agency. We must also speed up the work on setting up BRICS Agriculture Research Center, BRICS Railway Research Network, and BRICS Sports Council. There is also a clear need to build norms, create structures, and pool our capacities to stop tax evasion and fight against black money and corruption. Our agencies must also build mechanism of information sharing to bring to justice the tax offender and money launderers. BRICS should push for empowering the global governance institutions to reflect today's reality. Second, transform the quantum and quality of trade and investment linkages among BRICS. In 2015, intra-BRICS trade stood at about $250 billion US. We should set ourselves a target to double this number to US dollars 500 million by 2020. This requires business and industry in all 5 countries to scale up their engagements, and for governments to facilitate this process to the fullest. Our agreement on a tax and custom cooperation framework is a good start. The BRICS Trade Fair exhibition just concluded in New Delhi should become a regular platform for business exchanges. And the BRICS New Development Bank must play an active role to support this objective. It can also help integrate our SMEs into global value chain. We must also coordinate closely to preserve the central role of the Doha Development Round and the WTO. Alongside, we should increase our cooperation and convergence at the G20, WTO and other fora. India has tabled a draft of the Trade Facilitation Agreement for Services at the WTO. It seeks to maximize the benefits of service liberalization and trade to the developing countries. A strong BRICS support to this proposal will be in our collective economic interest. Third, focus on key priorities of our economic transformations. Urbanization, infrastructure and innovation represent the key focus area for BRICS economies. Under India's chairmanship, we have placed emphasis on digital technology, smart cities, urbanization and cooperation between our cities. The next billion internet users will come from emerging markets. Our cooperation must grab this opportunity to transform the basic structure of our economies. Fourth, secure our societies. In the world we inhabit today, security and counter-terrorism cooperation is necessary if we are to secure the lives of our citizens. Terrorism casts a long shadow on our development and economic prosperity. Its research is now global. It has grown more lethal and adept at the use of technology. Our response to terrorism must, therefore, be nothing less than comprehensive. And we need to act both individually and collectively. Selective approaches to terrorists, individuals and organizations will not only be futile but also counterproductive. There must be no distinction based on artificial and self-serving grounds. Criminality should be the only basis for punitive action against the individuals and organizations responsible for carrying out terrorist acts. Terrorist funding, their weapon supply, training and political support must be systematically cut off. In this respect, we need to deepen the security cooperation between our national security advisors. Early adoption of the draft Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism will be an expression of our resolve to fight this means. Fifth, thriving people-to-people exchange is the lifeblood of BRICS. It brings vibrancy and richness to our partnership. We have chosen to highlight this dimension this year. The BRICS Film Festival, Trade Fair, Tourism Convention, Sports Council, Football Tournament and other related activities will help in creating millions of young stakeholders that will ultimately carry our partnership forward. Excellencies, I am eager to hear from my fellow BRICS leaders on their vision for a stronger, deeper and vibrant BRICS community. I thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. Excellencies, I now have a great pleasure to invite you to deliver your country statements. May I first invite His Excellency President Xi Jinping to deliver his remarks.
尊敬的莫迪总理
Minister Modi,
尊敬的祖马总统
President Zuma,
尊敬的特梅尔总统
President Temer,
尊敬的普京总统
President Putin,
女士们先生们
ladies and gentlemen, friends.
很高兴来到美丽的
It gives me great pleasure to come to the
感
beautiful
谢普
Goa.
京总统和印度政府
I thank Prime Minister Modi
对本次会
and the
议所
Indian
做的
government
精心组织
for their gracious hospitality and thoughtful arrangements for our meeting.
2014年呢，我也访问过
I
印度，
visited India in
前
2014.
面奋进的印度人民，
The hardworking people
瑰丽多彩
and
的印度文
colorful
化
culture
给我留下
of this
了
great country
深刻的印象。
left me a deep impression.
10月是收获的季节，
October is the
今年
season
恰逢
of harvest,
金砖
and
国
this
家
year
合作10周年
marks the 10th anniversary of BRICS
10
cooperation.
年磨一剑。
We in China often say it takes a master craftsman 10 years to sharpen a sword.
金
Indeed,
砖国家
through painstaking efforts, BRICS countries
合作
have traversed a rewarding journey in the past 10 years. With solid steps, BRICS cooperation has grown in depth and substance and evolved into an international mechanism with major influence and a productive track record. The past decade has seen BRICS making constant progress toward common development. We followed a development-first approach focused on growing the economy and improving people's lives and achieved much progress.
10年来，
Over the last 10 years,
我国经济
the
总量
share of the 5 countries in the world economy has risen
从12%
from 12%
23%，
to 23%,
贸易总额
from 11% to 16% in global trade,
对外投资比
and
重从
from
7%
7%
上升
to
到
12% in outbound investment.
30亿人民的生
The
活质
living
量。
standards of our 3 billion people are constantly improving.
金砖国家在国际上的
The
地位和
stature
作
and the
用
role of BRICS in the international community have been rising.
这是拓展合作、互利共赢的
The
时代。
past decade has seen BRICS expanding cooperation with win-win results.
包容
Following the
合作
BRICS spirit of openness, inclusiveness, and win-win cooperation,
努力构
we
建
have worked to put in place a multidimensional and a multi-layered cooperation structure,
合作领域不断
and we have been able to widen the scope, improve the mechanisms, and enrich the outcomes of our cooperation.
我们设立
We
新
launched
开发
the
银
new
行和
development bank
建立
and the
应急储备
contingent
安排
reserve arrangement. advanced cooperation on energy conservation and energy efficiency, and enhanced coordination in our position on climate change. All these have testified to the efficiency and effectiveness of BRICS cooperation and opened up a new path of South-South cooperation. The past decade has seen BRICS making dedicated efforts to fulfill its mission and make a real difference. Together, we have withstood the shock of the international financial crisis and made important contribution to global economic and financial stability. According to the IMF report, the BRICS countries have contributed to more than 50% of global growth during the last decade. We have stood up for international equity and justice and spoken with one voice on major international and regional issues. We have pushed for the reform of global economic governance, which resulted in greater representation and a voice of the emerging markets and developing countries. Dear colleagues, as an old Chinese saying goes, from the mirror we learn about ourselves, from the past we learn about the future. Proper stock-taking of the past will lead us toward a brighter future. In our world today, the momentum of global economic recovery remains fragile, with lackluster trade and investment, and continued volatility in commodity prices. Deep-seated imbalances that triggered the financial crisis are far from being resolved. Some countries are getting more inward-looking in their policies. Protectionism is rising, and the forces against globalization are posing an emerging risk. Furthermore, we have to confront complicated geopolitical factors, intertwined traditional and non-traditional security risks, and also rising global challenges such as terrorism, infectious diseases, and climate change. All these make for a complex and a volatile external environment for the development of BRICS countries. The theme of this BRICS summit, building responsive, inclusive, and collective solutions, is highly relevant. Given the challenges in the overall international environment, stronger confidence and a joint response are all the more important. 10 years on, BRICS cooperation has grown into a luxuriant tree with deep roots. We are fully capable of turning challenges into opportunities and pressure into motivation, and overcoming difficulties through united efforts. We must contribute our wisdom and strength and work together to find common solutions. First, we need to work together for an open world. Openness holds the key to a country's prosperity. We should follow the law of history and the trends of our times by advancing structural reform, adopting new growth models, building open economies, and firmly opposing protectionism in all forms. It is important that we strengthen coordination on macroeconomic policies and facilitate market interlinkages, financial integration, infrastructure connectivity, and people-to-people contacts. Well, this way, we BRICS countries may set the pace for international cooperation on greater openness and lead the world in this direction. Second, we need to set out a common vision for future development. Inclusive and sustainable development is the shared aspiration of people around the world. It is also a source of strength for the healthy and sustainable growth of the world economy. We should continue to prioritize development and scale up North-South dialogue and South-South cooperation in the context of implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the outcomes of the G20 Hangzhou Summit. We can inject fresh impetus to and open new vista for international development cooperation with new thinking, new concepts, and new measures, and help bring about strong, sustainable, balanced, and inclusive growth of the world economy. Third, we need to confront global challenges together. We BRICS countries share a common future. We are not just a community of convergent interests, but more importantly, we take concerted actions and make progress together. It is imperative that we step up coordination and communication on major international issues and regional hotspots, and act in concert to find political solutions to hotspot issues, and take on such global challenges as natural disasters, climate change, infectious diseases, and terrorism. While speaking with one voice to call for greater international input, we should also address issues on the ground with concrete efforts and a multi-pronged approach that addresses both symptoms and root causes. And that will be our contribution to enduring peace and the security of the world. Fourth, we need to stand together for justice and equity. Global governance that is based on equity and justice is a must for the development of all countries. We should continue to participate in, advance, and lead the reform in global governance in order to achieve a more reasonable and equitable international order, and increase the representation and the voice of emerging markets and developing countries. We should continue to safeguard international peace and handle issues in light of their own merits and in keeping with the purposes and the principles of the UN Charter and norms governing international relations. This way, we BRICS countries can bring positive energy to the world and usher in a new type of international relations featuring win-win cooperation. Fifth, we need to deepen our partnership. We BRICS countries are good friends, good brothers, and good partners that treat each other with sincerity. This bodes well for deepening friendship and cooperation going forward. The implementation of the strategy for BRICS economic partnership has offered us a good opportunity to deepen and expand economic cooperation in all areas and raise the collective competitiveness of BRICS countries. We must ensure the success of the new development bank and the contingent reserve arrangement, two mechanisms that will provide strong support for the economic well-being of developing countries. We also need to encourage more people-to-people exchanges in order to bring our people closer and win greater popular support for BRICS cooperation. We should broaden BRICS' circle of friends and keep it open and inclusive for common development. Dear colleagues, as a committed supporter and a participant of BRICS mechanism, China puts BRICS cooperation high on its diplomatic agenda. And we see BRICS cooperation as a strong boost to world peace, stability, and prosperity.
感谢印度成功地举办了
I want to thank India for successfully holding
金砖国家
the summit here in Goa.
明年
And next year,
中国将接任
China will take over the BRICS rotating presidency
主办金砖国家领导
and
人
host
第9次
the
会议
9th summit.
我们深感
We are fully aware of the heavy
同时也
responsibilities,
充满信心
and we are
我
also
们将同各成员国
confident that
携手努
by
力
working together, we BRICS countries
金砖国家发展
will
的
map out
新蓝
a
图
new blueprint for BRICS development. I thank you.
I thank you, President Xi Jinping. Let me now invite His Excellency President Jacob Zuma for his remarks.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and our esteemed BRICS Chairperson, Prime Minister Modi, Your Excellency President Xi Jinping, Your Excellency President Temer, Your Excellency President Putin, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to congratulate our court, our chair, and gracious host, Prime Minister Modi, for his leadership towards yet another set of milestone achievements for our grouping today. The world is faced with new interconnected challenges which require our concerted efforts to resolve. The transcontinental and transboundary dimension of these challenges requires us to be ever more innovative in our collaborative efforts. I therefore welcome the further expansion of the BRICS STI framework program as an enabling instrument to support research, development, and innovation partnerships. Water as a potential source for future conflicts requires concerted collaboration. In this regard, we thank President Putin for Russia's hosting of the BRICS Water Forum. Developing countries need to adapt to the fourth industrial revolution, which is based on distributed smart systems integrated in the Internet of Things, with high levels of digitalization, automation, and networking. This will require the necessary investments in technology and infrastructure development, technology transfer, skills development, and industrial financing that will improve Africa's competitiveness and productive capacity, as well as reduce transaction costs. Your Excellencies, our working lunch focused on strengthening people-to-people cooperation, cognizant that we constitute almost half of the global population. Our combined demographics our combined demographic dividend represents a real advantage for the future growth. It also serves as an engine for global growth through empowering future consumer classes. It is our responsibility to harness our collective strength to improve the conditions of our people. In this regard, BRICS countries should become centers of cultural innovation and exchange and creativity driven by people-to-people interaction. We also encourage the development of strong new and indigenous knowledge systems and knowledge-sharing initiatives amongst ourselves. Your Excellencies, our BRICS Think Tanks Council has recommended to us that we consider an innovative framework for the governance of new spaces and commons, notably the outer space, deep ocean, and the internet. Given the contestations in these spaces, we appeal that enhanced functional cooperation becomes the motive and incentive for developing these spaces in order to serve humanity, especially its most deprived citizens. In Africa, our coastal communities face the dire consequences of climate change and require urgent funding to adapt to the various challenges. It is important that developing countries become partners in this process and that the related global value chains include the owners of natural resources to also be the beneficiaries thereof. We also need to empower our vulnerable groups who are most impacted by poverty, climate change, and the global economic crisis, among other challenges. We emphasized the need for a full role for women in society, in the economy and governance to achieve the world we hope for. The outcomes of the meeting of our women parliamentarians will undoubtedly contribute to these goals. The 2016 BRICS Youth Summit noted that education, employment, entrepreneurship, and skills training are critical for young people to be socially and economically empowered. It was highlighted that many countries are supporting apprenticeships and providing incentives and opportunities for entrepreneurship. In this regard, the Youth Summit made a commitment to create an enabling environment for fostering innovation by young people. In order to accelerate inclusive growth, BRICS countries must expand investment in developing small, micro, and medium-sized enterprises. The South African government, business, and labor agreed to create 1 million youth internships to be jointly financed by the private sector and a package of state incentives will be launched in 2017. Funding has also been set aside to promote equity investments in small businesses. Access to markets remains a critical area of focus for the success of our small and micro businesses. The BRICS grouping together accounts of overall GDP of $16 trillion. More than 40% of the BRICS economies are driven by the MSME sector, according to government estimates. BRICS has provided the world with new models, if not paradigms, for development tailored to the unique needs of the developing world. We therefore celebrate our own achievements while acknowledging the historic contributions of the developed world and the need for enhanced partnerships to mobilize all available resources to achieve our Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. In respect of the implementation of the strategy for BRICS economic partnership, we have identified key projects for cooperation with our BRICS partners in the areas of insurance and reinsurance cooperation, the BRICS Seed Bank, infrastructure, including electricity generation and transmission. Also, in the BRICS Cable Project, the African Union North-South Development Corridor, the Oceans Economy, cooperation in aviation, as well as manufacturing. We look forward to working with the BRICS Business Council on the details of these projects and their implementation. South Africa's participation in BRICS is interlinked with the development objectives of Africa as reflected in Agenda 2063, which is the continent's blueprint for economic and technological transformation. Significant opportunities on the continent present themselves. However, the continent's full potential will remain unfulfilled unless we address the challenges related to inadequate infrastructure, small and fragmented markets, underdeveloped production structures, and inadequate economic diversification. In this regard, the establishment of the new Development Bank Africa Regional Center in South Africa is welcomed and timely, as it will pay particular attention to Africa's needs in respect of industrialization and infrastructure, as well as sustainable development. We further welcome India's outreach initiative to the BIMSTEC countries and support the regional development and integration initiatives of BRICS members. We welcome the signing of the various memoranda of understanding which attest to the deepening of our wide-ranging cooperation. Your Excellencies, we take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Antonio Guterres on his appointment as the 9th UN Secretary General. We are encouraged by the synergy of his stated priority areas with our own policy objectives. These are the noted inextricable link between security and development, the need to align the UN with regional and the value of preventative diplomacy to achieve political solutions. We assure him of our full support in recognition of the United Nations as an essential partner in all our undertakings. We thank the outgoing Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, for his unselfish service to the organization and its member states over the past decade. Your Excellencies, we will continue to strengthen our BRICS cooperation in service of our development objectives aimed at enhancing the quality of life of our people. I thank you, Chairperson.
I thank you, President Jacob Zuma. I have great pleasure in inviting His Excellency President Michel Temer for his remarks.
Senhor Primeiro-Ministro Modi,
Mr. Prime
Senhor
Minister
Presidente Xi
Modi,
Jinping,
Prime Minister Xi
Senhor
Jinping,
Presidente Zuma,
Prime Minister Zuma,
Senhor Presidente Putin,
Brother President Xi
eu
Jinping, President
quero,
Zuma,
em primeiro
President
lugar,
Putin, may I
dizer
first of
que
all
há uma coincidência quase
indicate
absoluta
that
em
there
todos os
is
pensamentos que vêm sendo
an
expressados
absolute level of
desde a manhã de hoje.
coincidence in all of the
Seguiram-se
thoughts that have been
aos
voiced earlier
debates de
in the
hoje de
morning.
manhã, onde houve muita
Early
coincidência
in
de
the morning,
opiniões,
we seem
aquela
to
conversa mais informal
converge in our
que
views and
tivemos ao
opinions, and
longo
after
do
that we had a
almoço,
more
com
informal talk during
resultados,
luncheon
penso eu,
with
muito
results
objetivos.
that I believe were very
E neste
objective in the end of the
momento,
luncheon session. And now, as I hear my BRICS counterparts' remarks, I also see a very high degree of coincidence among us at the table. And I wish to again state that the international system today is going through a period of increasing interdependency. The problems we face can no longer be addressed through isolated solutions. Against a backdrop of deep uncertainties, one thing is quite clear and certain. The challenges of today require collective action and solid partnerships. The BRICS partnership is fueled by that conviction. We seek solutions that will promote greater diversity amongst the community of nations. We seek solutions that will prove conducive to the well-being of our populations. This is the BRICS' natural calling, i.e., to join efforts to build a more prosperous and fair world. As has been mentioned before, 10 years have gone by since BRICS became more than just an acronym couched in the financial market. Today, we BRICS countries are vibrant economies that organize their efforts around shared interests. The first decades of the BRICS group of countries is certainly a decade marked by achievements on which we should pride ourselves. And what has been done is certainly not a small effort. We have successfully established a new development bank and the contingent reserves arrangement. These are major initiatives, the result of our mutual trust and commitment, always in the search for joint solutions. These initiatives translate in practice our convergence in the financial sphere. The NDB, the bank, is the BRICS' most visible face. Its success will clearly reflect the success of the BRICS group. Our development as a group and their ability to innovate in the international system will be assessed on the basis of the proper workings of that banking institution, the NDB. The priority focus of our efforts should therefore be the consolidation of the NDB bank. The successful start of bank operations is good reason for great joy. Its long-term success, in turn, is conditioned to the financial solidity and its sound management. We do trust that the new development bank will follow in the right path and that it will promote sustainable development and establish itself as a key player among international financial institutions. Our shared visions, as I have said before, on economic matters motivate us to do even more together. The path for us to achieve more results is certainly the path of dialogue and of consensus building. Our permanent challenge is to avoid dispersal of efforts. As mentioned in our restricted early morning meeting, Brazil is currently going through major and substantial changes. We are taking actions to recover, restore growth, and create jobs. We are currently enhancing our regulatory frameworks, strengthening legal certainty, and fostering an environment that is conducive and friendly to new investments. Partnership arrangements among BRICS countries can foster greater interaction among our business communities and therefore encourage greater integration among our economies, as we have seen just earlier today during the meeting of the BRICS Business Council, as we heard the different stakeholders and players in BRICS. So on the trade front, therefore, we can make progress in removing non-tariff barriers, for example, such as streamlining of customs procedures and the mutual recognition of standards and certificates. The signing of a customs agreement among BRICS during this summit meeting opens up the prospects for greater coordination among our ports and customs authorities. Sanitary and phytosanitary barriers have always been a source of uncertainty in trade. We should therefore prevent that these measures be used for protectionist purposes. Yet another promising area, may I state for the record, is the internationalization of small and medium enterprise, SMEs, as has been time and again mentioned in the afternoon remarks. In Brazil, we have launched measures aimed at expanding credit availability to small firms and also to support exports-oriented transactions and also to train small businessmen and women. Partnership among BRICS countries can certainly boost competitiveness of these companies and therefore contribute to foster greater economic growth and creation of jobs. The role to be performed by the BRICS Business Council in this regard is therefore of utmost importance. I should also state for the record that on the social arena, we have very good prospects for more progress. We are countries that have large populations. We have similar challenges, and therefore we can work together to overcome them. In the healthcare sector, which, by the way, was mentioned during our luncheon talks, development of medications and vaccines is a topic of utmost importance. BRICS countries have successful experiences to share. Greater engagement in this topic will certainly bring the group closer to the needs of our populations. We are countries endowed with great scientific and technological capabilities. We have recognized education institutions and high-profile researchers, The BRICS network universities opens up prospects for new cooperation efforts on the educational arena. Designing joint graduate programs will certainly enable closer ties among members of our academic communities. Important universities in Brazil are currently committed to that initiative. BRICS countries also have a great weight on the environmental agenda. It is significant that the new development bank has devoted itself to renewable energy projects. We can move on and expand our partnership arrangements in that area, the environment. The substantial results achieved by Brazil in reducing deforestation and in using renewable energies encourage us to do even more on the environmental front. Dear friends and colleagues, I wish to congratulate Prime Minister Modi for the effort to take BRICS out of meeting rooms and take BRICS to public spaces such as movie theaters, football arenas and trade fairs. The links among our societies are the links that will ensure closer ties among our countries in the end of the day. The strong commitment of the Indian presidency and last year on the part of the Russian presidency to include our parliaments in the scope of BRICS have yielded very good results. There have actually been quite a few parliamentarian embassies of BRICS countries that have met. The BRICS Parliamentarian Forum has therefore provided further political support to our partnership. In my view, this is therefore the path we must follow. There are clear-cut opportunities for our joint action. I am positive, I am extremely certain that we will leave Goa having renewed our commitment to the BRICS countries, a partnership that we wish to be always in tune with the priorities for our societies. Thank you very much.
I thank you, President Michel Temer. I invite for the final country statement in this plenary session His Excellency President Vladimir Putin for his remarks.
Your Excellency Prime Minister Mr. Modi, dear colleagues, dear friends, BRICS summits are always held in a constructive and business-like atmosphere. I fully concur with the assessments expressed by my Brazilian colleague during our working lunch, when he said that we demonstrated to Mr. Modi that he was capable of creating very light but at the same time business-like, fruitful atmosphere. That is the way to foster substantial business-like partnership that leads to concrete results. BRICS countries have converging positions on the most relevant global and regional problems. They stand for resolved actions in the fight against terrorism, for jointly confronting other acute threats and challenges of the modern time. We believe that the settlement of international conflicts should be based solely on political and diplomatic means. We condemn the policy of forced pressure in any manifestation. We condemn the infringement on the sovereignty of other states. In the run-up to our today's meeting, substantial agreements have been prepared. Goa Declaration as well as action plan for its implementation, which we are to endorse, are truly comprehensive documents outlining key priorities for the years to come. With that, we applaud the continuity ensured by the Indian presidency with respect to the initiatives put forth by Russia a year ago in Ufa. Let me stress that the BRICS countries' role in global economy continues to grow. In 2007, our share in the global GDP accounted for less than 24%, whereas this year it exceeds 31%. BRICS countries are actively participating in the development of multilateral solutions and agreements designed to speed up global economic growth, foster trade and address unemployment issues. BRICS countries are fruitfully cooperating within the framework of the WTO and G20. They share common approaches to the issues of global development, reforms of the world financial and economic architecture. Practical work of the new development work has been launched, as well as that of the contingent reserves arrangement. The New Development Bank has endorsed first 5 investment projects in the area of clean energy, one for each of its member countries. We hope that the bank is going to actively foster projects in national currencies of the BRICS countries. One of the key priorities at current stage is the adoption of the NDB development strategy. We need to geographic and sectoral priorities and develop criteria for the accession of new members, as well as agree on key parameters of its investment portfolio. With the commissioning of the contingent reserves arrangement, we have additional opportunities to protect our currencies from the excessive volatility on financial markets. Since February, the central banks of BRICS countries set up special correspondent accounts in national currencies. In the context of deteriorating international competition, we call upon partners to step up that trade and investment cooperation between the BRICS states. Thus, we will be able to foster advantages arising from mutually complementary nature of our economies, as well as protect our countries from excessive vulnerability to unfavorable trends of the international situation. Let me remind you of the fact that in Ufa last year, the countries endorsed the strategy for economic partnership of BRICS until 2020. We do hope that very soon the roadmap for investment cooperation of the BRICS states is going to be agreed upon, as well as action plan that will ensure the practical implementation of the strategy. We believe that our industrial and technological cooperation could become even more efficient. We need to translate into practical steps the initiatives on the establishment of the BRICS Foundry Union, the development of the Center for Processing and Keeping e-data and professional training. It is important to consider and work on the idea of establishing the BRICS Energy Agency. We welcome the proposal put forth by India on launching the special internet portal for small and medium enterprises of the BRICS states. There is substantial capabilities in the development of cooperation in the area of e-commerce. Today it is one of the most vibrant economic sectors globally. That is why we need to carve out a common approach of the BRICS states to the regulation of its activity, as well as to ensure the conditions for barrier-free e-commerce between the BRICS states. There are huge opportunities for the cooperation in the peaceful peaceful exploration of outer space. Just one example, bringing together the data of observation from satellites coming from the remote sensing of Earth. BRICS countries could make a tangible contribution to addressing the most acute problems the humankind is facing, such as climate change, natural disasters and environmental protection. It is important to speed up the streamlining of customs procedures, as well as to exchange views and experience in terms of development of a single window for the activities of economic operators. We need to work together on streamlining anti-monopoly regulation, bring our positions closer to the streamlining of manufacturing and technology norms and standards. I would like to commend the active contribution of the BRICS Business Council to our efforts. It is important to develop cooperation in the area of healthcare, in the area of preventing and suppressing the spread of dangerous, contagious diseases such as Ebola in Africa and risks related to the Zika fever in a number of Latin American states. In November 2017, Moscow is going to hold the high-level global conference on TB, during which we are going to discuss measures to counter these and various other dangerous epidemic. We invite all BRICS countries to attend this event. Humanitarian cooperation of the BRICS states is gaining momentum. India organized a number of very interesting events which we highly commend. The practical work is being carried out on the development of the BRICS Network University, the initiative that was put forward by Russia. 56 educational institutions of our countries joined this initiative. I believe that the university is going to be an important tool in implementing multilateral education, scientific and innovation projects. As I conclude, I would like to stress once again that we stand ready to continue close cooperation with the BRICS partners. I would like to extend candid gratefulness to Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, for the perfect organizational arrangements of our today's events. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, President Putin. Excellencies, I thank all of you for valuable suggestions and contributions. They will help us set an action-oriented agenda for positive change. It is declared that institution building is one of the core targets of our efforts. We have agreed to quickly put in place the BRICS rating agency. We have agreed on setting up a BRICS agriculture research network. We also need to expedite BRICS railway research network and BRICS Sports Council. Combating terrorism, including cross-border terrorism and its supporters, will be a key BRICS priority. We will also work closely to fight tax evasion, black money and corruption. Earlier today, at lunch, we have also agreed to hold a high-level meeting on traditional knowledge. We have also agreed to make BRICS a stronger voice on the existing and emerging global and regional issues. The emerging regional and global challenges require a robust cooperation and resolute action by BRICS. Hearing you around the table today, I am confident of success and growth of BRICS. For this, we should hold our commitment to the test of visible action. I think I speak for all when I say that through common vision and collective action, we will create and sustain deeper bonds among BRICS nations, develop our economies and secure our societies, nurture linkages that will inspire our future generations, and place on the ground a BRICS network of understanding, friendship and cooperation. Let me also congratulate China and offer our full support as it prepares to assume the presidency next year. I now have pleasure to declare the adoption of the Goa Declaration. I thank you very much.